In these old Appalachian hills, when a soul passes on, there's things you do and things you best not forget. You stop the clocks. Time don't belong to the dead no more. You cover the mirrors, lest they catch a glimpse of themselves and get stuck on this side. But most important of all, you open a window. It don't matter if the wind's howling like the devil himself or if the summer air's hanging so thick you could choke on it. That window's gotta be open, even just a crack, 'cause if you don't, that soul might not find its way out, and if it lingers too long, it might not leave at all. Uncle Eli was a mean old cuss, the kind that never had a kind word for nobody, nor the patience to hear one back. He lived up in a lean-to cabin on Briar Ridge, tucked so far back in the woods even the wind seemed to forget his name. Been that way since his wife passed, and some say he weren't much different before then, neither. Too stubborn for his own good, too mean to die easy. He never went to church, never bowed his head to nothing but a whiskey bottle, and he sure as hell didn't put no stock in the old ways. "Ain't nothing waitin' after this world," he'd say with a spit and a sneer. "When you're dead, you're dead." Well, he was half right. The night Uncle Eli finally took his last breath, the weather turned as mean as he was. The wind come rushing down the holler, snapping branches like bones, howling against the eaves of that old cabin. Thunder rolled in low and heavy, not like no summer storm, but like something deeper, something older. His niece, Sadie Mae, was the only kin left close enough to care, so she came to sit up with the body like decent folk do. But in her grief, she forgot to open the window, and that's when the trouble started. At first, it was small things. The candle wouldn't stay lit, though there weren't no draft. The air in that cabin felt thick, heavy as a wool blanket in August, like the walls themselves were holding their breath. And then came the knocking. Tap, tap, tap. Slow, deliberate, not from the door, from inside the room. Sadie Mae's breath hitched in her throat. Every hair on her arms stood up stiff as a cat's back. She turned, real slow, and that's when she saw it. The mirror, the big one sitting over the old washstand, the one she'd forgot to cover, and in it, something was moving, not a shadow, not a trick of the flickering candlelight, something thin, something pale, something pressing against the glass like it was trying to push through. And then she heard it. A breath, wet, rattling, coming from the bed where Uncle Eli lay. Sadie Mae screamed. She snatched the quilt clean off the chair and flung it over the mirror just like her mama taught her. Then she threw the window wide open, and just like that, the candle blazed up high, like nothing had ever been wrong. The air let go of its weight, and the room fell dead silent. She didn't look back at the body. She didn't dare. She just whispered a prayer, stepped outside, and kept walking down that mountain. She never went back, and no one blamed her. They put Uncle Eli in the ground, for the sun had a chance to rise, not wanting to give whatever lingered in that cabin any more time than it already had. And the old folks, they didn't say much, just stood there, hats in their hands, eyes on the dirt, shuffling their feet like they didn't want to be standing too close. But as they turned to leave, one of 'em, Old Man Cotter, who'd seen more than most but spoke on less, shook his head and muttered, "Always open a window when the dead go passing through. Otherwise." He glanced back at that cabin, at the dark windows, at the place where the wind still refused to stir. Otherwise, they might not leave. And that, my friend, is why you always cover the mirrors and crack a window when death comes calling. Ain't just old wives' tales. It's a warning, one written in whispers and passed down from those who've seen what happens when you forget. So, if you ever find yourself sitting up with the dead, keep your wits about you. Watch the shadows, listen close, and don't you dare leave that glass uncovered. And when the time comes, when their breath is gone and the room turns still, open that window, let 'em out. 'Cause if you don't, they might just stay. Now, best be getting on home. Night's setting in and you don't want to be out too late. Not when something might still be watching.